Hey guys, this is Miss Cat, and today we're going to be talking about the basic setup of Unity. And so I'm going to walk you through what all of these different windows are that we see. Now, there's more windows than what's here, but this is a basic scene that I've created, and these are most of the windows that we're originally going to touch. All right, so let's get started. So my project window, which is right here, is going to hold all of my assets. So what are assets? Assets are anything you want to use in your game. So that includes, if I have a scene, like this is actually a scene to be used. Think of that as like a level in a game, right? That is considered an asset. So it holds all of this in one project. I've got scripts, which I put on, objects to have them do something or be able to animate. Um, I've got sprites, which are some of my pictures right here that are 2D, and we'll go into more about what sprites are and stuff later. Palettes, all these different things. And so assets allows me to hold everything for my game. So it's not just for level 1, it's for, my main menu, my level 1, my level 2, my options. Everything I'm ever going to put in my game is contained within my assets. And that is in my project, right? So next views I kind of want to talk about are these two because they kind of go together. So I've got my hierarchy and my scene. So my scene allows me to, grab and move things and kind of set up my level. So a scene, like I said before, is a level. So it allows me to set up my level. But my hierarchy over here is actually where I can see every single thing in my game. So I have, my mushroom, which I can visually see here, a starting point, a tile map, which is actually all of these islands and stuff like that I've created, another tile map, which is my little water and everything. I've got some hazards, which I've put down here just to kill my character in my game. So I have these things called jumpers over here. And as you can see, when I click off of the hazard in the jumpers, I can't see them. So if I were trying to click on them, it's going to be impossible in my scene view. But what my hierarchy allows me to do is allows me to see those and actually edit them. Now, that's kind of how we set up our stuff. This is how we are able to view it and everything else. But let's talk about what's the difference between our scene view and our game view. So our game view is what we want our players to see. It's everything that they're going to see. They're not going to be able to touch anything when they're in here, right? They're going to be able to move the character around or do whatever you allow them to do. But besides that, they don't have anything extra in here. So if I really want to make sure that my camera is the right size and that it's fit within these boundaries, right? Because I have these boundaries right here. I want to look like it fits in there. I'm going to double check my game versus my scene view. If I don't want my player to accidentally start off screen, I need to make sure that I check my game view and then move that player into my screen, right? So the last thing we're going to talk about is the inspector. So the inspector is really important. As you can see, right now this inspector is blank and you're like, so what's the big deal? Well, the inspector allows me to edit, add, subtract anything I want from any game object. So a game object is a specific type of asset. So a game object is anything that we see in our hierarchy. Now, our hierarchy, like I said before, kind of is all of this stuff right here. My camera, any lights I add, players, mine's right now called mushroom and stuff like that. But as I click on these, you can see that my inspector changes because these things contain different things. So my main camera not only has a transform, which anything you make that is in your hierarchy will have a transform. It has to exist somewhere in your plane, right? But it also has a camera on it because we need a camera, a flare, audio listener, so that way if we have any sounds, it'll listen to it, stuff like that. And as I go on to the next thing, I have a sky. Now, the only thing my sky has is a transform and a sprite renderer. And so that sprite renderer is having to do with the fact that it's a 2D object and stuff like that, but it doesn't contain all of those other things. Now, the last one I want to go over real quick is my mushroom. So my mushroom's my player. And so not only does it have a transform and a sprite renderer, because once again, it's a 2D object, right? It's 2D, so it's a sprite. But I have what's called a rigid body 2D, which we'll get into in a later video. I've got a player control script, a hazard script, a capsule collider 2D. And like I said, we'll get into more of this, but I want you to understand that on these game objects, I have all of these different things on here, which are all called components. So a script, no matter what it is called like a component. Those in particular are behavior components because they actually change the behavior. but like a rigid body 2D, a capsule, even the sprite renderer and the transform are actually different types of components. So I want you guys to take a minute. You should be able to download this. This is the example that I've given you. If you want to play around in here, see what you can learn about it and stuff like that, this is up for you, okay?